in today's video, I'm going to be putting you guys on the top 5 guaranteed ways for you to get permanent residency in Canada. The only way your application would be refused, I've not really seen anybody rejected for permanent residency. The only way you can be refused is if your application is sketchy, if you falsify documents, or you lied somewhere, or Hey guys, it's your girl WhizQueen back again with another video. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for joining. Please consider subscribing below and ensure to turn the post notification bell on as well. And if you're a returning subscriber, you know the vibes, please give this video a thumbs up, don't hesitate to leave a comment below, and don't forget to share with your friends as well. So in today's video, I'm going to be putting you guys on the top 5 guaranteed ways for you to get permanent residency in Canada. If you don't know, there are 2 major types of residency in Canada. You could either be a temporary resident or you could be a permanent resident. So you can only transition from being a permanent resident to becoming a citizen. I also have a video where I talked about the benefits of being a permanent resident in Canada. I would link that video in the description box, just in case you are thinking, oh, what is this big deal about being a permanent resident? I could just be a temporary resident and not care about anything else. There are several privileges that comes with being a permanent resident. There are several opportunities. Just so you know, one very important one is that you cannot apply for government jobs if you are not a permanent resident or a citizen. That one alone is a very huge deal, because government is one of the highest paying employer in Canada, and if you want to apply for any government job, you have to be a permanent resident or a citizen. So that one alone is enough reason for you to want to be a permanent resident. And there are also a lot of people in Canada, you don't want to continue to be a temporary resident for as long as you can, then you continue to renew maybe your study permit or you renew your work permit and all that. It gets stressful. At what point would you want to apply for your citizenship? So permanent residence is definitely the way. These 5 ways that I'll be listing in this video are guaranteed, secured. Be rest assured that if you follow this video to the very end, you'll be able to know 5 guaranteed ways to become a permanent resident. The only way your application would be refused, I've not really seen anybody rejected for permanent residency. The only way you can be refused is if your application is sketchy, if you falsify documents, or you lied somewhere, or if your work experience is not valid. That's also you falsifying information, and you could get banned if you do any of those, so be very careful. Then on what grounds could you also be refused? Say maybe you didn't put in the right documents, or you made some mistakes in your application. So what are the guaranteed ways that you can become a permanent resident in Canada? Stay tuned to the very end. So I would be starting from the bottom to the top, or to the most guaranteed way. So the fifth, starting up at number 5, we have the live-in caregiver program. So if you are not aware already, Canada has a program for live-in caregivers that allows them to become permanent residents after 2 years. Once you have worked as a caregiver in Canada and you had valid work experience for after 2 years, then you should be eligible to apply for permanent residency after 2 years. So the most important thing is that after you get your permanent residency, you need to know that you don't have to continue to work as a caregiver if you don't want that career path anymore. You can always switch to something that you prefer, and your permanent residency would give you a lot of other benefits. So 4th on the list is family sponsorship. So say for instance you want to sponsor your spouse, your partner, your parents, your grandparents. You can sponsor them into becoming a permanent resident in Canada. But the most important one I'll be addressing here is spousal sponsorship. Spousal sponsorship is also a very easy way to becoming a permanent resident, and the only way for a spouse to sponsor their spouse or their partner means they have to be a permanent resident or they have to be a citizen of Canada. And if your income level is also acceptable by the IRCC, then you can sponsor your spouse to becoming a permanent resident as well. So if you are the spouse of someone that is already a permanent resident or a citizen, you don't have to do so much. You just get your permanent residency once you are eligible. The 3rd on the list is definitely temporary residence as a student becoming a permanent resident. So if you had study permit or if you had a study visa in Canada, then for you to even get a study permit, that means you must have applied to a designated learning institution, and you must have applied to a program that qualifies for PGWP. So there are 2 routes on that if you came into Canada as a student. The first route is maybe through the Federal Skilled Worker Program. So if you have foreign work experience and you came into Canada as a student, at the end of your program you would get a postgraduate work permit. While you have your postgraduate work permit, you can also apply for your permanent residency under the Federal Skilled Worker Program, and that is if you have eligible foreign work experience. The other way for you to become a permanent resident if you came into Canada as a student would definitely be Canadian Experience Class. Once you come into Canada as a student and you find a good job or an eligible job or an acceptable job, what you need to do is to work in that field or that job for up to a year. Then that way you'll be qualified for Canadian Experience Class. Canadian Experience Class, so once you go from your study permit, you get your postgraduate work permit. So say for instance you have 2 years or 3 years of postgraduate work permit and you work in Canada for at least 1 year, then you can apply for Canadian Experience Class and you get your permanent residency. Remember, the two most important things for you to be able to qualify for a study permit is that you must have applied to a designated learning institution, you get your admission letter, and you apply for your visa as well. The second guaranteed way for you to get permanent residency in Canada is definitely provincial nominee program. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on provincial nominee program. People think just because it's a longer route, it's stressful and all that, that's why they don't want to follow that route. But trust me, it's also a very guaranteed way for you to get permanent residency in Canada, especially province of Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Once you know people in that province or you have a family or a friend, especially from Manitoba, you can get extra points in that province. So I guess people should try or open their mind and pick up interest in those other provinces and not continue to think they should only go to Alberta or Ontario. So make sure if you are planning to come to Canada and you have not considered the provincial nominee program, then my guy, you are sleeping. Go ahead and go make sure that you are eligible based on the requirements on the provincial website, and you're also eligible for permanent residency on that express entry. So once you do the provincial nomination, if you get a nomination from the province you indicate your interest in, then you can apply for permanent residency. Make sure you go check it out. I have a video on that as well, you can go check it out. And the last but not the least guaranteed way to become a permanent resident in Canada is definitely Federal Skilled Worker Program. I know this for sure because I came into Canada under the Federal Skilled Worker Program and I came as a permanent resident. I understand and I appreciate the privilege that I had coming into Canada straight up as a permanent residency. I didn't have to go through the hassle of getting postgraduate work permits or applying in Canada and doing all those stuff. I applied straight from home and I became a permanent resident in Canada. So definitely check out the Federal Skilled Worker Program. I have a video on that as well where I talked about my entire process, how much it cost, what else did I share, how you can also do it. So make sure you check the link in the description box. The two most important things for you to do if you want to be eligible for Federal Skilled Worker Program or you want to apply, make sure you do your English language assessment and also make sure you do your credential assessment. Those two things you definitely need, are very important for you to be able to apply for permanent residency under this program. And also the minimum work experience acceptable for Federal Skilled Worker Program is 1 year. So you have to have at least 1 year of foreign work experience for you to be eligible for Federal Skilled Worker Program. Look out these 5 options that I've listed. Find out which one would suit you the most or which one you're actually eligible for. Then you can make sure you apply for your permanent residency. Or if you also need any guide, make sure you check out my other videos. I have done detailed videos on several processes. There are other immigration programs that would help you become a permanent resident. It's just that some of those programs are super stressful. Some of them require for you to get a valid job offer before you can apply. Some of them also require you to be in a specific province or in Atlantic Canada, so it gets really stressful. That's why I just decided to list what are the 5 top ways for you to be able to get permanent residency in Canada. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed watching it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe right away and ensure you turn the post notification bell on as well. Don't forget to share with your friends and family, and I'll see you guys in my next video. In the meantime, stay confident. Bye bye.